Hey guys, I'm currently in my fridge to say that I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of Part 5 like any other, I would say sane person, but that's just not true. And one aspect that stands out to me in this part is how the villains are written. And one villain that I do like is Ghiaccio. Ghiaccio is a minor antagonist of Vinto Arreo, a part of a rogue group within the crime syndicate Passione, or Passion. This group is known by the name La Squadra Escusione, or just La Squadra if your Italian ain't that good. They went rogue after poor treatment from the boss and the death of two members, Sorbet and Gelato. And now their goal is to take the boss's daughter in order to learn the boss's identity to take over the syndicate for themselves. Now I could just leave it at that, but that would be vapid. That would make me boring. And there's one thing you need to know about me. I'm not boring. The mere suggestion makes my blood boil. You know, I don't even understand why we say that expression. My blood just can't boil on its own. I would be dead. That stupid ass expression pisses me off. This video is going to be different. This is going to be a deep dive on Ghiaccio through all of JoJo media. From the manga, to the games, to even how the fans see him. And unlike Malone, there's a lot more stuff to dive into, so let's go ahead and dive in deep.
Oh, it's frozen. Oh, it's frozen.
It's not like you can transform.
Oh yeah? Well, watch this.
Ghiaccio, which means ice in Italian by the way, is one of the most outspoken members of La Squadra. He's loud and he's proud, but despite the meaning of his name and his stand ability, he is a little bit of a hothead. And saying that he is a hothead is very much of an understatement. This man's ballistic. Ghiaccio definitely has some unresolved anger issues, with some people thinking that he has IED, or intermediate explosive disorder, but that part's not really confirmed at all. A little fun fact about Ghiaccio is that the author Kohei Kadano, the writer for Purple Haze Feedback, and Crazy Diamond Demonic Heartbreak, he refers to Ghiaccio by the nickname Iceman, which I thought was pretty interesting, and also I didn't have anywhere else to put it, so I just threw it in this part. Ghiaccio has a very interesting design. He has very curly sort of hair. I don't think I would have pulled it off, but I think his outfit is pretty cool, especially the red glasses. We don't really see a lot of JoJo characters wear glasses, so it's really neat to see one that does. And there's actually a reason behind it. While designing him, Araki stated, "I gave the user glasses so his face would leave an impression when you get a glimpse of it through his suit," which I find as great character designing advice. And his color palette for the anime and manga leaves a bit more of an impression by making his glasses red, which red is the color that draws people's attention. His red glasses also contrast his blues and whites and makes his face pop out a bit more. And for the JoJo game color palette, he just looks like an old librarian. I'm not a big fan of it. Ghiaccio Stan is White Album, named after the Beatles album. The Beatles? Excuse me? This is actually a self-titled album that has no other descriptions on it besides the band's name on a blank white album cover. But most people refer to this as the White Album given its appearance. So why is it called White Ice in the localization? This is something that Ghiaccio himself would be mad at. There is no legal trouble that Shueisha would get into by calling it White Ice, so I don't understand what that's about. Names aside, I actually do like White Album. It's not a humanoid stand, it's instead an ability that Ghiaccio has where he can cryogenically freeze anything he touches, and it could also double as a suit, with it sporting ice skating blades on its feet and cute little horns that look like cat ears. It's like our little ice skating cat. Aww, so cute. This is actually one of the first suit stands that we have in the series, if you don't count Yellow Temperance. I like how the suit looks, and I wish we kind of had more suit stands in JoJo's. There's actually a reason why White Album is made for ice skating specifically. It's because Araki thought it would be cool to have an opponent that skates alongside the road to attack you. Do you guys think Ghiaccio practices ice skating with White Album? Just imagine him hitting a perfect pirouette after killing someone. Just imagine it. Another cool thing that's weirdly stated about White Album is that it has this igloo effect where even though it gets below freezing outside, it's nice and cozy on the inside. You know what? I would love to have White Album because I would just be wearing it all the time. What would it be like to have White Album? Ghiaccio is voiced by Nobuhiko Okamoto. I think he does a really good job as Ghiaccio. Most of the JoJo VAs are told to go over the top on their performance. I think he does a really good job since Ghiaccio is already over the top, so to go beyond that is like something very, very commendable. And it also emphasizes the rage of his character. Okamoto also does some other voices, like Genya from Demon Slayer and Bakugo from My Hero. Typecasted much. Ghiaccio's English dub voice actor is Chris Hackney. He also does a really good job at the character. I think he sounds like the character. Hackney has also played Father Styx in the Part 1 and has played Haruda from JJK. You know, this guy. And that's all I got for Ghiaccio here. So let's just move on to...
Oh, so you fell down from a guy pushing you down the ground real hard. Okay. Get up. Get pissed. Call the police.
Ghiaccio debuted in JoJo's 500th chapter on April 7, 1997, right after the Grateful Dead fight. He debuts in the same chapter as Malone, which makes them a bit more connected. And Ghiaccio in this chapter is just a voice on the radio. It's most likely him on the other side because all the other Squadra members are dead. Oh, my friends are dead. Ghiaccio doesn't say much. He pretty much just asks like one question. He asks Malone if he's able to track down Bucciarati, and we don't hear from him for most of the babyface fight. If you're wondering when his actual first appearance is, that would be in chapter 507 that was published on June 2nd, 1997. After Junior is defeated, Ghiaccio arrives at the scene of the fight in his convertible to find that Bruno's gang is gone and unable to be tracked because every car in the lot was turned into frogs or something, I don't know. But instead of getting mad at losing track at Bruno's gang, he instead gets mad at an idiom that he uses. This idiom changes depending on the translation. The Japanese dialogue uses the phrase to dig up the roots and the leaves. In the fan translation that I read, it's come hell or high water. And in the English dub they use leave no stone unturned and think outside the box. But they all end the same way no matter which version you're reading. It ends with Ghiaccio taking these idioms literally and getting unbelievably pissed off by them. Like, dude, they're idioms. Plus you brought them up. What are you on about? In this frenzy, Ghiaccio starts beating up his car for some reason and calls Malone to figure out why Bruno's gang isn't dead yet. Malone responds by saying that since he has Bucciarati's lifeblood, whatever that is, he can make as many juniors to attack the group. Ghiaccio in the anime is happy by this news, but then Malone is killed while Ghiaccio is on the other line. In the manga, it kind of plays out differently. Ghiaccio isn't aware that Malone dies on the other line, or for at least the translation that I read. While in the anime, Ghiaccio is enraged after clearly hearing Malone die. I actually like this edition because it really feels like La Squadra actually cares for one another. It's actually pretty tragic how many La Squadra members have witnessed many of their members die right in front of them. One thing I like about this scene is that we get some time with Ghiaccio before his fight. Many JoJo villains don't really have that much time in the spotlight. A lot of minor villains' screen time consists of their introduction, then going into their fight, then going into their defeat and death, and then are just forgotten about after the fact. That's why I like how Ghiaccio is a bit more established before his fight. This is sort of a manga-only effect though, because in the anime, all the La Squadra members get some time before their fight with an extended backstory. But the extended screen time in the manga is a reason why Ghiaccio is a fan favorite. I mean, just look at him. After Malone's death, Bruno's gang gets a message from the boss with instructions on how to get more instructions on how to drop off Trish. Just a normal day in Passion, I guess. So this has Capo Pericolo having a photo of the lion statue at Venezia Santa Lucia station, which he burns to make sure that no one else can see it besides Bruno's gang. And he lived a happy and prosperous life after that. So Bruno's gang decides to split up, with Giorno and Mista drawing the short sticks and going to Venezia to retrieve the OA disc. I really like Giorno and Mista. They're one of my favorite Bruno gang dynamics. And I also like the little minor banter they get up to when driving to Venezia.
On a road as straight as this one? Jeez, who taught you to drive? Wait, do you even have a license?
I'm 15, so no.
Araki, for some reason, likes putting the youngest in the driving seat no matter the scenario, and it will always be funny to me. This scene is cut short because somehow Mista's pinky is missing, and it is now stuck to the window. This is where Ghiaccio decides to reveal himself and how he was able to track the two. He got his hands on the reconstructed photo that Pericolo burned, and then he lived a happy life after that. In the manga, this was very hand-wavy on how he got the photo reconstructed from some ashes, but in the anime, they do a really good job at handling this plot point. In the episodes leading up to this reveal, we have actually been seeing Rosato in all of his glory torturing some members of Passione to reconstruct an image. These scenes were shown before the reveal of the photo and when Pericolo killed himself. Well, I mean he didn't kill him. This is actually a really smart choice and it adds some rewatchability to this part. Great work, anime team. You did a good job. Another thing that I want to mindlessly gush about is the fight's location. It's on the Ponte della Libertà. It's a really great and interesting place to have a fight, just this long bridge. And another thing about this fight is that it changes locations a lot, and I think that's really good, and it keeps the fight interesting. Also, this segment might be a bit more in-depth than the Malone video, because unlike the babyface fight, I actually really like this fight, so.
Fuck you!
Oh, hot dog. Oh. So Ghiaccio is just chilling on top of the car for no reason. Something that I noticed that Araki does a lot is that he just explains away how the La Squadra members appear and disappear out of thin air because, you know, they're skilled assassins or whatever. My personal theory on how he got onto the car is that he jumped from a bridge onto the car and Giorno and Mista were just too tired to notice the sound of him hitting the roof. Ghiaccio, from the roof of the car mind you, notices that the turtle isn't in the vehicle, so he assumes that they split up to get something important in Venezia. Ghiaccio is actually pretty prepared for this fight, literally having the high ground, but also sabotaging the car's functions by freezing the brakes and the steering wheel. Not only that, but he's also the perfect counter to both Mista and Giorno. Mista can't shoot him because the ice is too thick and will stop the bullets, and Giorno is unable to grow anything at negative 100 degrees Celsius because no organic life can survive in that temperature. Well, actually, some bacteria can survive in those temperatures. How is any of that helpful? So through the combined efforts of Giorno and Mista, they are able to use the heat from the gun being fired to warm up the bullets, so Gold Experience can change the bullets into roots to break Ghiaccio off the car. I love the little dumb stupid fetal position that Ghiaccio hits after being knocked off the car.
But he came back.
This scene is very cool, pun very intended, with the introduction of the ice skating suit. As he skates towards the car, he mentions how, because of Malone, he won't underestimate Giorno, showing that Ghiaccio is able to learn from past mistakes. This scene also shows one of the main characteristics of Ghiaccio, or his purpose rather, of being a constantly adapting threat. Ghiaccio goes from falling straight onto his face to freezing the exhaust pipe and climbing onto the back of the car. And when Mista tries to shoot him off again, he pops the trunk, blocking Mista's vision, and crawls through the trunk into the back seat in an almost horror fashion. But before Ghiaccio can perform a Sub-Zero finishing move, Giorno has the wise idea of driving into the ocean to stop Ghiaccio and damage the car. Then the three start to do some water shenanigans, like Mista shredding on some ice, Ghiaccio becoming a unicorn, and Giorno just bleeding out in the ocean. This segment of the fight is also well written. Mista's battle intelligence is insane, yet still feels in character for Mista. While in the water, Mista figures out that there is an exhaust opening on the back of White Album's suit that he can hit Ghiaccio. You know, episode 4 style. I also want to mention how Ghiaccio loses his glasses and he's just fighting blind. It's a cool detail. Even though Mista knows about Ghiaccio's weakness, he's not going down that easily. And this is where he uses the popular and cool move of White Album Gently Weeps. This move is named after the Beatles song in the White Album titled While My Guitar Gently Weeps. With this ability, he can decrease the temperature around him to negative 210 degrees Celsius. Once matter hits that low of a temperature, it freezes motion entirely. Just a cool physics lesson there. So this lets Ghiaccio freeze the air around him, creating floating sheets of ice, which he ironically uses to copy Sex Pistols, and ricochets the bullets that Mista shoots back at him. And Ghiaccio basically gets Mista and Giorno to a very weak position. But instead of finishing them off, Ghiaccio decides to retrieve the disc first, which I find interesting for an assassin that's really good at his job. He's choosing not to finish them. He'd rather win this race to get the disc than kill the two guys that have been weeding away at La Squadra for like about a week now. This could be because Ghiaccio is very prideful to a flaw, and he wants to collect this disc to prove that he's better than these two. Or it could just be Araki wanted to keep the main characters alive so the story just wouldn't end. Ghiaccio gets his hands on the disc after finding it on accident. I have the opinion that Ghiaccio got mad searching for the disc and smashed the lion statue out of rage. I think that would be pretty much in character. So right now, Ghiaccio has won, but Mista is still standing. He didn't hear no bell. And with some help from Giorno, Mista lands a shot on Ghiaccio's exhaust hole. But Ghiaccio, like Mista, isn't going down that easily, revealing that he actually plugged up his exhaust hole. Ghiaccio is determined not to lose this fight. He's basically using all of his sand energy to freeze the air and thaw it out inside of his suit. And also, he's keeping Gently Weeps activated while this is all going on. I wish Araki would have shown Ghiaccio struggling a bit more to keep his stand out, because he is using a crazy amount of stand energy, but what are we gonna do? I mean, this came out like years ago. All the bullets that Mista shot start flying back at him, fatally injuring Mista. I know this video is about Ghiaccio, but in order to understand Ghiaccio's purpose in the story, we need to know more about his opposition, Mista. Mista is one of the main characters of Vento Arreo. He is one of my favorites, mainly in part because of this fight. But one thing you need to know about Mista is his optimistic look on fate. Fate is one of the main themes of JoJo's, with this part being mainly focused on fate and how we interact with it. You could see this with Mista's backstory, with him walking towards the crux, with the bullets flying all around him. But Mista keeps going on, because he wasn't afraid of the outcome. Because if he was fated to die there, he probably would. After this, he would be arrested, and while he was in prison, he would regret this, being scared that fate had rewarded him poorly. But then he would later be bailed out and join Passione. That time in prison was just an obstacle put in place by fate, just like Ghiaccio. Ghiaccio is just an obstacle that Mista has to get over, and Mista is rewarded by fate once his blood spews all out, freezing onto Ghiaccio's visor, making him blind. And after some shots from Mista, Ghiaccio is pushed back onto a damaged pole, which pierces the weak exhaust cover on the back of his neck. This has now turned into a battle of who has the stronger resolve. Every shot that Mista shoots pushes Ghiaccio closer to the spike, but every bullet fired is sent back to Mista through Gently Weeps. After some shots, the spike draws deeper into Ghiaccio's neck, causing blood to burst out. But because Ghiaccio is so resourceful, he freezes the blood, using it as a frozen support to keep his head in place. And as one last bullet is in Gently Weeps, it ricochets back into Mista's skull. As Ghiaccio celebrates his victory, he notices something with Mista. The wound on his head is gone. And then we get this iconic scene. This scene is one of my favorite scenes in this part. Giorno saves Mista at daybreak, which is beautiful given the fact that Giorno comes during the daytime and his name literally means day or daytime. Mista survives because he had allies, while Ghiaccio dies because he's all alone. Giorno finishes off Ghiaccio in one of the coolest kills in this part, having Ghiaccio getting pierced by the pole through his throat. Very metal. Literally. Putting an end to not only Ghiaccio, but the Squadra saga as a whole. Yes, there might be one member left, but this is the last one that Bruno's gang faces. So yay, they did it! Victory blowjob! What? Overall, one of my favorite fights in Vento Arreo. Ghiaccio definitely elevates it. This fight was a really good JoJo fight, with us and the characters learning from success and mistakes as the fight continued. After Ghiaccio's death, we don't see him for the rest of the part for obvious reasons. So that's all I have for this segment.
Now let me see your war face! Bullshit! You didn't convince me! Let me see your real war face!
So guys, I have some bad news. There won't be a segment for spin-offs this video. I know, I'm sorry. But there is a reason behind that. I've already covered the Ghiaccio spin-off in the Malone video. That video will be at the end card if you want to know how that story goes. But besides that spin-off, there's another spin-off called Rosato Nero's Observia. But I want to save that for Rosato since, you know, it has his name in the title. But Ghiaccio does appear in that, so I'll bring that up during the Rosato video. And I don't want to read George Joestar. No, that's pretty much it. But don't worry, I can make it up to you guys. I'm gonna have an exclusive segment just for this video, and it's gonna be titled, I'm sorry. First, I want to apologize for not having a spin-off segment, but also to my Italian-speaking audience. Yeah, they do exist. Sorry for my horrible pronunciations. Listen, I'm from the South, and that might be the reason why. But hey, that's not gonna stop me from still trying. And thank you to the guys who called me out in my comment sections and also helped me to figure out how to pronounce words in Italian. That was some great help. I tried properly saying it for this video, but if it's still wrong, then I'll get it better next time. And so I want to mention some comments from last video that I can explain away here. And again, this is only for this video, so anything in the future is probably 100% correct, so yeah. I'm Tuscan, so while it's true that de modo is grammatically correct in dialect, it's just crass, but in context, it's still complete gibberish. It's the exact same as saying very much on its own. Yeah, sorry about that. I was like debating whether I should actually put that segment into this video. I wanted to like kind of like stand out and put information that we haven't seen before. I just hit the mic. That we haven't seen before. And I think while doing that, I may have accidentally spread like misinformation, so my bad. Alright, so this one's a long one, so I'm just gonna paraphrase. Malone doesn't mock Pesci or Prosciutto, besides only in the English dub, which is what I watched for my research. And Malone is actually a bit upset of seeing his team members' bodies. You can actually see him like shake in the manga. Now, I used to think this was like a whole bunch of baloney. I didn't believe that Malone actually shook in the manga. I felt like this was just people trying to throw their headcanons in on this character. But no, if you actually go back to the manga, he is like shaking. You can see the lines of visual shaking, and you can also see the ellipses while he's talking, or while he's not talking, I guess, to show that he's like deep into thought. I guess I personally thought that this was a way to show how Malone is just a horrible person being like a villain for this part, so yeah, sorry. Malone isn't a bad guy. Okay, maybe not as bad. Not Stockholm Syndrome, it's sunk cost fallacy. No, it's Stockholm Syndrome. I was basically like trapped by this character, and like the more I learned about him, the more like I became like obsessed with him. I would say obsessed. The more I grew to like him. So something that no one's called me out on, and I've called myself out on it rewatching the Malone video, is that for the JoJo Bizarre Adventure game that I mentioned in the game segment, I referred to it as Ghiaccio, even though I knew going in that Ghiaccio in Italian just made the Joe noise. So I have no idea why I still went Ghiaccio. Whoops. And you know what? Speaking of that game, let's segue into the next segment.
I'm back in this bitch. I'm back in this bitch.
Alright, time to talk about the games. So let's just get started with Ghiaccio's first appearance, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for the PS2. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure dropped July 25th, 2002, only in Japan, and was never released outside of the country. The Ghiaccio fight happens after Prosciutto and Pesci's fight, skipping the Malone fight. Sorry, Malone. Maybe next time. Ghiaccio in this game is voiced by Tomohiro Nishimura, who also plays Pesci in this game. His performance is really good. He gives Ghiaccio more of a scratchy voice in his delivery. And this would be the very first time we would hear Ghiaccio's voice ever. There are some changes from the source material in this game, so for this segment I'm just going to be covering all the changes that they did to the story. As I mentioned, they skipped the Malone fight and just have Bruno's game unceremoniously steal a car. Pericola does not die in this game. Instead, the boss just texts Bruno and the gang to go to Venezia and grab the disc. See, Mr. Boss? That wasn't that hard. No need to be all cryptic. You act like you run like a mafia or something. They make splitting up way more obvious in this game, with Bucciarati telling Mista and Giorno to go grab the disc while the others stay with Trish. And while Giorno and Mista are driving to Venezia, Mista spots Ghiaccio chasing them before Ghiaccio can get on the car. And for some reason, Ghiaccio, while chasing the car, is just explaining how his power works to the two. Okay. And after one incredibly hard loading screen, we get our first fight with Ghiaccio. The first half of the fight is on the bridge where you have to defend the car for around 2 minutes. What's funny about this is that Mista is just standing on top of the car and shooting at Ghiaccio. Not the most reasonable way of defending, but you go off, Mista. I noticed something in this fight. When Ghiaccio gets shot, he bleeds for whatever reason, even though the whole point of the suit is supposed to block the bullets. But I think they probably just did that because of limitations. After you successfully keep Ghiaccio off the car for 2 minutes, you enter the second stage of the fight where Giorno drives into the water. They cut the fight and all of the stuff in the water, so we just get the part that is Mista and Ghiaccio on land. You have to hit Ghiaccio's backside in order to do damage to him, and once Ghiaccio reaches half health, White Album Gently Weeps activates, and any attacks that are not on his back will ricochet back. I think that's pretty cool implementation of Gently Weep's ability. So in this game, there's these things called secret factors. They're basically achievements that you unlock once you do a certain thing in the game, usually something in reference to the source material. And this fight has a secret factor where if you shoot the pulse and get Ghiaccio stuck on them, you can kill him just like the manga. I personally really like this secret factor. It's pretty cool, and it rewards players who are creative and remembering the source material. And so the fight concludes with you shooting Ghiaccio dead. What's interesting about this is that Giorno doesn't do anything for this fight. It's all Mista, so Giorno just kind of feels like an asshole just collecting the disc while Mista did all the work and is bleeding out. Victory blowjob! Ah, it hurts! It's like 3 polygons! Ah! Alright, next game. Diamond Records was a free-to-play gacha game that focused on you collecting characters from the anime for battles. I don't have much to say about this game because it's no longer with us, and the rules seem a bit convoluted, but I do know that this game was the first playable debut of Ghiaccio. This game is also the first playable debut for a lot of characters, like Leaky Eye Luca, but not Malone. Luca? They invited Luca? That leaky eye loser isn't even important. Pitter patter pop. Ah. My petit chou-fleur. I've said this before, but I really love the art style in this game. It's so cute. It's unfortunate that it's no longer with us. A lot of people really like this game. The reason why this game is here is because it features Ghiaccio. And fun fact, he was actually added February 18th, 2019 with Malone in the Ghiaccio and Malone Arrive event. And there's not really much I can say here that I haven't said in my Malone video. And it's a shame that Pitter Patter Popped just Pitter Pattered stopped. Alright, the last game that I'm going to cover today is All-Star Battle and its remaster. All-Star Battle is a JoJo arena fighting game that you can still play. Finally, a game with a pulse. I said that it has a pulse, I didn't say it had a healthy one. Ghiaccio is one of 3 characters from La Squadra that is playable in this game. 4 if you count Pesci and Prosciutto as separate characters. He was not playable in the original ASB, instead being a menu character, like Malone, for the glossary. I think that's a pretty fitting choice for him. Fun fact, in the original All-Star Battle, Ghiaccio was voiced by Tatsuhisa Suzuki since the anime for Part 5 wasn't out yet. But he would later be replaced by Nobuhiko Akamoto, the anime voice actor in the re-release. I want this segment to be different from the other segments. I could just talk about a game that I've never played before, but what's the point of that? That's not the true experience. So I bought the game. This was a financial mistake. I'm notoriously bad at fighting games.
Alright, I have bird mode.
Come on. This isn't an honorable duel. This is.
And not to mention that I think Ghiaccio is one of the more trickier characters to play in this game. But I tried my best. I booted up arcade mode and I tried my hardest to win. I gave up. I think I'm done with games for the day.
No one ever saw me cry until I left the party the other night. Do you remember all the things that you said to me that came out of his mouth automatically?
Now I want to cover something that I haven't done for one of these videos. Merchandise! Merchandise! Where the real money from the show is made. Now, I don't actually own any of these pieces because they do tend to be a bit pricey. Like, guys, come on, I made a whole video about this. Pay attention, take your notes. So, I won't be able to feel the quality of these products in person, but that could always change in the future. Let's get started with Ghiaccio plushies. The Ghiaccio Tomini brand Presto plushies. I hope I said that right. This guy is pretty cool. I love how he looks. I actually used the Band Presto plushies in the Malone video because, let's be honest, the Band Presto plushies are the best JoJo plushies, besides these guys. His glasses are very thick for some reason, which I think look fine. It's just too thick for my enjoyment. But overall, besides that, he's a pretty good looking guy. Cool. Ice cool. The Chibi Gurumi plush. This one's similar to the Band Presto one, but it looks like it's been squished down to a shorter height. His glasses are a bit thinner, which I think looks better. But man, come on, look at that forehead.
Fuck! That motherfucker on swole mode. Gotta go!
Besides that, he's a little bit better than the Band Presto plushie. This guy is cool as hell. The Mini Pate Kuro Ghiaccio plush. You know those Disney, like, stackable plushies? This heavily reminds me of those. I'm not a big fan of how the mouth looks or its placement, nor like the whole tube design, but if that's your thing, you would probably like them. Better luck next time. Now these plushies aren't official, but I wanted to show them off because I like them. I found these under a post by the username of Catfishy24. They're really cool looking and they are custom made. Cat did a really good job on these, I would say. I'm not gonna rank them though since they aren't official, but I just wanted to show them off here. Okay, now on to figures. Kero Heroes White Album. I personally don't like how the Kero Heroes look. They just look horrifying. And I can't really find any other good pictures of this figure. It's like a cryptid. His face looks so weird and it kind of looks like he's missing a nose. And the visor is too dark, so it looks kind of like horrifying. I don't know what to say here. The Statue Legend White Album statue. This guy's in a pretty cool pose and the sculpt is really good. His visor is like an actual visor with some space in between his face. He does have blonde hair, but I think it's passable. The suit still looks really cool. Get it? Because I said really cool. The Capsule Figure Collection Ghiaccio. This guy's cool. I like him. He is in the Fentlean pose for some reason. I'm not sure if that's a callback to something, but it looks dynamic enough. His face is a great mix of the JoJo style and the chibi style, something that Araki can't get right. Overall, pretty good little minifigure. Keep up the good work. The Stand Figure Collection. This figure is pretty cool. It's like the capsule one, but the pose is a bit more dynamic. And I like how the visor is just the face a bit more flatter, but painted a shade of yellow to make the illusion of the visor being there. I think his face looks pretty good, even though it's all squished in. This is one of my favorite figures here. And finally, the Master Lice Ghiaccio statue. This has a better pose than the capsule figure, but something's wrong with the face. I don't like how he's looking at me. I like the rest of the body, but I think something is wrong with the face. I think it's something with the Araki face markings not being on it, so he kind of just looks a little bit off and kind of plasticky in the face area. I have no idea why I decided to do the Sonic Adventure ranking system.
Later, pussy!
Alright. Hey, knock it off, man. Hey, I'm not mucking around here. You're really starting to tick me down.
Ghiaccio is one of the most memorable members of the Squadra. Heck, maybe even the most memorable Part 5 villain. His personality is over the top, and him being the penultimate the Squadra member makes him really stand out. And because of that, a lot of people like him, having his own fandom. And that's kind of what I want to look at for this segment. First, I would like to shout out JoJo cosplayers. I personally really like cosplay. It's a fun art form that I feel like it needs to be appreciated. And the JoJo community is full of talented cosplayers. And I've seen a lot of good Ghiaccio cosplays. I really like his outfit and other people's take on it. There's not a lot of White Album cosplays compared to Ghiaccio, for a really good reason, because White Album is a fully original bodysuit, which, you know, would be hard to make. But I have found some and they look amazing. So keep up the great work, cosplayers, you're doing good. Alright, let's get into headcanons. A headcanon is an online term that refers to someone finding something canon within their head that isn't directly contradicted by the canon. Basically, someone's interpretation. I'm not too big on headcanons myself, but I do like to see other people's take on a character. And when it comes to Ghiaccio, he doesn't really have that much headcanons, well, at least compared to the other members of La Squadra. It's really easy for Malone, since we know little to nothing about Malone. But since Ghiaccio has a lot more time in the spotlight and a more defined personality, it's really hard to find some. But I did find some, and I'm going to mention them here. One Ghiaccio headcanon that I see a lot is that he has a rare gentle side that we don't see in the show. But we could also see this some more official material, like the Malone spinoff, at least for a little bit, with him having a bit more comforting and mellow tone for most of that story. Another headcanon is that Ghiaccio was very athletic before joining Passione, being on hockey teams and ice skating, which, would explain why he's so good in White Album. And another headcanon suggesting that Ghiaccio and Malone used to be in the medical field together and being former colleagues. I actually find this one pretty interesting. It would explain the interactions between each other because they do speak with some familiarity. I can imagine Malone being more biologist and Ghiaccio doing something with cryogenics. I think overall all of these are pretty good interpretations of the characters, but I do have to mention one thing. So if we're talking about headcanons, I have to talk about ships. We all know what ships are. I'm not going to even act like you don't know what that is. When you take two characters and put them together in usually a romantic relationship. That's why they're called ships, because of relationships. Ghiaccio has two different popular pairings, one being with Malone, obviously, I mentioned this in the last video. Their relationship is the classic opposites attract, with Ghiaccio being the hot-headed, easy-to-anger type, and Malone being the calm yet eccentric type. These two have the most interactions with one another, so I can see why this is a popular pairing, with them always calling and trusting one another with jobs. Plus, with the inclusion of the non-canon spinoff, it would make sense why people would pair the two. The other ship is between Ghiaccio and Risotto. The relationship is similar to Malone's, with Ghiaccio being the hothead and Risotto being the more calculated one, as well as being the leader. Malone, Risotto, and Ghiaccio are usually in that same triangle for some reason, and they also feature in another non-canon spinoff together. I haven't read that spinoff though. And that's all I'm covering for ships. I didn't hit all the ships, but I just covered the more popular ones that I've seen. Like headcanons, I'm not really a big shipper, but I do want to shine a spotlight on how the community sees this character. And again, thank you to all the artists who I used for this video. Their links will be in the description. Please check them out. After going through all this stuff, it's made me realize that Ghiaccio means a lot to people. Through all the people cosplaying, buying merchandise, playing games, and even you guys who watched till the end of this video. Thank you, by the way. Araki really did put a lot of work into writing this minor antagonist, as well as the rest of La Squadra. I noticed that a lot of you were confused in the Malone video on why I didn't remember the reason for making that video. But don't worry, I knew going in the reason why. I wrote it down on a piece of paper, I stuck it to the front of the fridge, so let me just go check it out. Just let me grab it real quick. What? Where'd it go? No, this isn't a bit. I swear, I put it... Did I misplace it? Overall, this journey was fun, and it's made me appreciate Ghiaccio even more. Make sure you subscribe so next time you can catch me when I cover Abdal and I film inside of a furnace. Hey guys, it's In-Screen Foxxie. I hope you enjoyed this video. It took a lot to make. If you want to see the Malone video, it's right here. But if you've already seen the Malone video and want something new, check out last video. I worked hard on that one too, and if you guys want to see more of the La Squadra videos, I'd recommend watching my other stuff. Alright, thank you, bye.
You fucking dick!